What's up, everybody? It's Jordan, and as crazy as it sounds, the NFL draft is finally here. It just starts in a couple of hours. So in this video, I'm going to be doing my round one mock draft and also my Bengals 7th-round mock draft. I posted this mock draft on Instagram on Tuesday. I got finished with it Monday afternoon, and a lot of it is kind of switched, and things have happened since then. So we'll go ahead and get started. Obviously, the Tennessee Titans are going to pick Cam Ward with the first overall pick. In my opinion, I think Ward is good. I think he's the best quarterback in this year's draft class, but I don't think that says anything great. I think this quarterback class is honestly not that good, to be honest. I don't think there's many quarterbacks you should draft in the early rounds. Number two, the Browns are taking Travis Hunter. No surprise there. It's crazy just around the NFL Combine. Travis Hunter was like plus 300 to go to Cleveland. Now he's minus 800. So he pretty much seems like a lot going to Cleveland. And with him going to Cleveland, that means New York Giants are going to take Carter at number 3. And as we see here, the Patriots are going to take Will Campbell from LSU. The Jacksonville Jaguars take Mason Graham. The Raiders take Genty. I like that pick a lot there. And the Jets take Mimbo, the offensive tackle from the Missouri University. And then we have Jalen Walker going to the Carolina Panthers at 8. Walker going to Carolina just seems like a good fit. You want to get a guy who can be like your Luke Kuechly, star defensive player for the next 10 to 15 years. And I think they have that if they end up getting Jalen Walker. I would be surprised if Walker would fall out of the top 10. We've seen mock drafts having Mason Graham for the top 10, Mimbo for the top 10. I think Walker is a lock to be in the top 10. If he somehow slides past Carolina, I think the New Orleans Saints, their rival, will go ahead and snatch him up with the 9th overall pick. As we continue here, I have Shedeur Sanders going to the New Orleans Saints. And honestly, if I'm the Saints, I would not draft the quarterback because we don't know how long Derek Carr is going to be out this season. And let's say he's out 10, 12 weeks. You would have Spencer Rattler just start the whole year. You suck, and hopefully get the first overall pick next year. And if you're lucky, you would have Arch Manning declare for the draft, and you would be pretty much getting Arch Manning more than likely. But I do have them getting Sanders here. I know there's been lots of talks about Sanders dropping maybe to Pittsburgh, maybe past 20. I don't really buy into that. I think it's a little bit of a smokescreen, but I had the Saints taking Sanders. Will Johnson going to the Bears at 10. Now, he is somebody who I've heard a lot about him sliding potentially out of the first round completely. Jeremiah did his mock draft yesterday. Did not even have him going in the first round. I know his knee issues are kind of a concern, but I would still take a chance at him. In my opinion, he's the best corner in this year's draft. Kelvin Banks goes to the 49ers at 11. I love this idea, getting the eventual replacement for Trent Williams. The Cowboys get Matthew Golden, the wide receiver from Texas, with the 12th pick overall. The Dolphins take Barron, the cornerback from Texas University, at 13. 14, the Colts take Tyler Warren. The Colts have been really pretty much dead set on taking tight end, whether it's Warren or maybe Loveland from Michigan. I think it's pretty much a lock. The Colts are going to be taking a tight end with their first-round selection. 15 here, I had the Atlanta Falcons taking Mike Green. This is a lock, in my opinion. I would be absolutely shocked if this did not happen. Raheem Morris, the Falcons head coach, came to Huntington to see Mike Green at his pro day at Marshall. That I know of, Raheem Morris was the only head coach who came to Huntington for Marshall's pro day. And when you look at the Falcons, they were the second fewest in sacks this past year. And everybody thought they were going to take Dallas Turner last season, with everybody picking them, getting Turner in their mock drafts. They shocked everybody and their mother taking Michael Penix Jr., the quarterback from Washington. I think they kind of learned their lesson by not taking edge last year. They're going to make up for the mistake from last year by taking Green here tonight at Atlanta with 15. Walter Nolan goes to the Cardinals at 16. They need some interior offensive line help, and I think Nolan will be a great fit for Arizona. I also feel like if Will Johnson ends up starting to fall out of this top 10, top 15 range, I wouldn't be shocked if the Cardinals end up taking Will Johnson. They could really use some cornerback help, and Johnson went to Arizona for a visit, so it kind of makes sense there. As we continue here, I had the Bengals taking Malachi Starks, I would be happy with this. Our secondary is weak. Our safeties are very inconsistent. Geno Stone sucks. Jordan Battle has shown hardly anything throughout his NFL career so far. In my opinion, I want us to take Harmon. I think Harmon would be great for Cincinnati. I think you can't really go wrong with Harmon at all. No one's there. Obviously, he's going to be in consideration as well. My dream scenario in this situation is that some way, somehow, Mike Green falls to 17 and we take him at 17. He's my favorite prospect in this year's draft. You pair Mike Green with Trey Hendrickson, instantly becoming one of the best edge rushing duos in the league. Trey Hendrickson led the NFL in sacks. Mike Green led college football in sacks. I mean, they would force havoc among any offensive line that they go up against. Seattle takes Shamar Stewart. I know there's been lots of talks about Cincinnati possibly taking Stewart. This really picked up, those talks the past day or so. I'm really, really, really hoping Stewart is gone by this point because it makes me nervous that Cincinnati might end up taking Stewart. It feels like a Cincinnati pick. And I've seen people say, oh, well, the comparison, some people compare him to Myles Garrett. I think it's absolutely laughable because if he's somewhat even remotely close to Myles Garrett, then why didn't he not put up Myles Garrett production in college, only having 4.5 sacks the last 3 years? He's a project player. He's really raw. You're drafting Shamar Stewart, basically how you drafted Myles Murphy. And we've seen what Myles Murphy has done so far. I have Stewart going to Seattle, 19. The Buccaneers take Campbell, the linebacker from Alabama. His injuries might have him slide a little bit. If it was for injuries, he'd probably be a lot to be a top 10 pick. 20, I had the Broncos taking Mario Hampton. 21, the Steelers take Harmon. They like Harmon a lot, and they really like defensive tackle. I really think they'd be smart if they took Harmon here. Being a Bengals fan, I would hate this selection, but this is honestly a really good pick by Pittsburgh. As we continue here, 22, the Chargers take McMillan. 23, the Packers take Michael Williams. 24, the Vikings take Kenneth Grant. That makes a lot of sense. Defensive tackle heading into the draft is one of their biggest needs, and they really like Grant a lot. As we continue with these final 8 picks in this round 1 mock draft, I have Houston taking Emeka Egbuka. I love this pickup so much. I know not a lot of people have had Emeka Egbuka going to the Houston Texans. When you look at him, he played with Stroud at Ohio State. You lost Stephon Diggs. Honestly, he really wasn't that great with the Texans. But I think this makes a lot of sense here. They could use wide receiver. You're already getting somebody that Stroud has, chemistry with. Egbuka had his best career season when C.J. Stroud was a quarterback at Ohio State. The Los Angeles Rams take Loveland, 27. The Baltimore Ravens take Tyler Booker. Do not be surprised if Loveland drops to 27. I would be shocked if the I would be shocked if the Ravens don't take Colston Loveland, the tight end from Michigan. Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely both only have 1 year left under contract, and after Andrews had a down season, I think Loveland could be the next tight end in the future for Baltimore. I wouldn't even be shocked that maybe Baltimore even traded up if Loveland got around that 19 to 20 range. As we see here, 28, Ezuriki, the Boston College edge rusher. 29, Washington takes Nick Scorton, the edge rusher from A&M. 30, the Buffalo Bills take James Pierce Jr. And it's crazy because 4 or 5 months ago, we're talking about James Pierce being a top 5 pick. Now there's character issues. You don't know how much there is to that. I've seen lots of mock drafts have him be that 25 to the end of the first round range. Buffalo gets a really nice edge in getting James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee. 31, the Chiefs get Josh Simmons. The Chiefs really need offensive line help, and I think Simmons would be great for Kansas City. If it wasn't for injuries, Simmons would probably be a top 15 pick. He is absolutely massive. This is a nice selection by the Chiefs. And then 32 to close out the round 1 mock draft, the Eagles take Greg Zabel, the offensive lineman from North Dakota State. And, when you look at Zabel, I've heard some people say he could be top 20, top 25. The Eagles can use a little bit more offensive line help, especially with Lane Johnson getting up there in age. And the Eagles have not been shy of drafting smaller schools because, Zabel played at North Dakota State. That's where Carson Wentz played. That's where Gobert played. I think that makes a lot of sense there for the Eagles taking Zabel with the 32nd pick overall. And then starting this Bengals mock draft here, the 7-round mock draft for Cincinnati. So this mock draft is different. I did this from a mock draft simulator from ProFootballNetwork.com. So in round one, I had them getting Oregon defensive tackle Derek Harmon Jr. I love this pickup here so much. 45 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 4 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries. Harmon also had 55 pressures this year that led all defensive tackles in the FBS. And when you look at defensive tackle, we've not really had a pass rushing defensive tackle since Geno Atkins, and that's been a long time ago. I think Harmon would kind of be that new, pass rushing defensive tackle that we've desperately needed since Atkins left several years ago. I'm not comparing him to Atkins at all, but they're kind of similar style of play. If you can get half the production what Geno Atkins had, that would be great in Cincinnati because, obviously we've seen how great Geno Atkins was with Cincinnati being one of the best defensive tackles in the National Football League when he was playing. And, I really, like I said, I really like Mike Green in round one if he's there. I doubt he would be, but my dream scenario to me is Mike Green for Marshall in round one. And then round two, my favorite prospect on day two by far, I have them taking Notre Dame safety, Xavier Watts. Watts to me was one of my favorite players in this year's draft, even before the Bengals adding Al Golden to be their new defense coordinator. And obviously Al Golden was the defense coordinator for Notre Dame with Watts these past couple of seasons. He had 82 tackles this year, 10 passes defended, 6 interceptions, and that was second most in FBS. In his 2023 campaign, he had 7 interceptions. He's a ball hawk safety that the Bengals desperately need so bad. They've really lacked, getting interceptions from a safety. Really, since Jesse Bates left a couple years ago, they've lacked having a ball hawk safety. I think Xavier Watts is you draft him, he starts immediately. You're getting Derek Harmon, who is going to be huge for your defensive line, and Xavier Watts to really help your lackluster safety group, to say the least, here in round two. So far, it's a really good mock draft here for Cincinnati. As we continue here in round three, I have Cincinnati drafting Georgia guard Dylan Fairchild. He had over 800 snaps this past year, only allowed 1 sack, only allowed 1 quarterback hit this past season for the Bulldogs. And, this is interesting. I've seen some people have Fairchild be like the 120th on their big board. I think you have to go ahead and grab him here. You don't want to risk by not getting offensive linemen, specifically a guard in this draft. And something I didn't mention about round two for Cincinnati. Let's say if Xavier Watts is gone and you're going to draft a defensive tackle, more than likely, or edge in round one. Maybe Cincinnati doesn't love the board in round two if Watts is gone, and they elect to trade back. We've seen that a lot of times throughout the years. In 2017, the Bengals traded back and got Mixon. 2019, they traded back, got Drew Sample. 2021, they traded back and got Jackson Carman. So they've shown improvement in rounds two. If there's not nobody great, they will trade back and get their guy. Maybe instead of getting Fairchild here in round three, they could trade back in round two and get Rutledge, the better guard from Georgia. I like that scenario a lot, but either way, if they get Fairchild here in round three, or if they trade back and get Rutledge in the second half of the second round, I think either way, that is a great idea for Cincinnati. You can't really go wrong with either one here. As we continue here in round four, I know lots of people are like this, especially with lots of Bengal fans, being Ohio State fans. They take Ohio State edge rusher Jack Sawyer, 59 tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, 7 passes defended, and 9 sacks. So we got Harmon in round one. We got Sawyer in round four. You are really helping your defensive line group significantly here, something that really is non-existent if you take away Trey Hendrickson. And Sawyer is a great pick. I don't know if he'll be here. Maybe if they want to take an edge like Sawyer in round three, I think it's more likely maybe it's a third-round selection. Being with 119th pick, I don't know. That's kind of late for him, but I saw him. I had to pick him up there. Another edge I really, really, really like here around this 119th range, their fourth-round selection for the Bengals, is Central Arkansas edge rusher David Walker. He is a beast. I interviewed him just a couple of days ago, so make sure to go check that out. The one thing about Walker that I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here. A couple reasons why I don't think we'll end up drafting him is because his size. For a defensive line and the edge rusher, Cincinnati normally drafts pretty tall players, 6'4", 6'5". Walker's only 6'1", and when you notice throughout the Bengals mock drafts throughout the years, they don't normally draft smaller school prospects. So when you have Walker playing at Central Arkansas and the fact that he's not a huge edge rusher like the Bengals like to draft, like Miles Murphy and Hendrickson and some of these other guys, I don't think it's really likely that the Bengals end up selecting Walker, but he is a guy I love in the 4th round if he's still available, and we've not taken edge yet. As we continue here in the 5th round, the Bengals take Notre Dame linebacker Jack Kaiser, 90 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries. Our linebacker group is not good. Logan Wilson ended the year on a season-ending injury. Pratt once out. And like I said with Watts, with Watts playing at Notre Dame, and that's getting Al Golden, who is Notre Dame's defense coordinator, there's already connections there. And Cincinnati loves to draft players who they already have familiarity with and have already coached before. Zach Taylor coached Michael Thomas, wide receiver, when he was with the Rams. And if it wasn't for that, he would have probably not have been a team for a whole season. There's been several times the Bengals have drafted players or signed players who they have familiarity with. The Bengals' former defensive line coach, Murray Hobby, he coached at Clemson, and DJ Reader played at Clemson with Hobby. There was a connection there. The Bengals love to do it. This makes a lot of sense to me. I would be surprised if this did not happen, especially if Kaiser's here in the 5th round. I really like this selection. So far, we're getting pretty much, players who are not only team needs, but they're also some of the best players on the board. Anytime that happens, that's best player available, in my opinion. And to close out this 7th-round mock draft for Cincinnati, Cincinnati does not have a 7th-round selection because they traded to get Khalil Herbert. This is probably my favorite pick in the draft. With the 6th-round selection and the 193rd pick, Marshall safety J.J. Roberts. Absolutely amazing this year for Marshall. A big reason why they won the Sun Belt Conference, having over 90 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, a sack, 4 fumble, 14 passes defended, second most in the FBS, and led the Sun Belt Conference. He is the crazy athletic. Roberts had an amazing pro day, and back in the middle of January, I posted that Roberts was the biggest snub by not getting an invite to the NFL Combine. And it's safe to say I was right. 5 different categories J.J. Roberts had at his pro day would have been ranked in the top 3 among safeties invited to the NFL Combine. At his pro day, he met with 21 teams, one of them being the Bengals. And Roberts recently met with the Bengals last Wednesday, I believe. But the Bengals are very high on J.J. Roberts. And Roberts has had visits with the Bengals, Buccaneers, Chiefs, and a top 30 visits with the Miami Dolphins. And Roberts to me is a great idea here, even with getting even with getting Xavier Watts in round 2. I still don't think you have to rule out the possibility of them getting J.J. Roberts in the 5th or 6th round. Roberts' projections have been all over the place. I saw a mock draft with him going to Tampa in round 4, and then I saw another mock draft with him not even getting drafted, which to me is absolutely ridiculous. But I reported Roberts met with the Bengals at his pro day. I reported that Roberts had a visit with Cincinnati and didn't get any credit for it. Sports Illustrated did not give me any credit. It's pretty ticked me off a lot, honestly. But this season I've not really done as many mock draft videos compared to years past. I've been doing more reporting. I've reported over probably 30, 35 different things that nobody else reported. And then Sports Illustrated has picked up on stuff and everything like that. This is my first year kind of doing the reporting aspect of the draft. And a lot of success this year. So this year, this upcoming draft, next year, I will be doing a whole lot more of that. Let's see here. Don't think Roberts goes in the higher rounds, such as the 3rd or 4th. To me, I think he's worth a 3rd or 4th round pick. I just don't get it. Like, honestly, I mean, he was the highest rated safety among PFF this season, but he's not even on PFF's big board, which makes literally no sense in my opinion. If I'm a team, I'm drafting him in the 4th round. Some people might call it a reach. I don't think it's a reach. I'm a big Marshall fan, watching him week in and week out. He is absolutely explosive. He is absolutely amazing. Some of his plays, I mean, he shows his athleticism. He also had a blocked field goal as well this season for Marshall. But if Roberts is there in the 6th round, I think you have to take him. Even if he's in the 5th round, go ahead and take him. Take him in the 5th if you want. Don't want to take a chance of him not being there in the 6th round. But Cincinnati is one of the teams highest on J.J. Roberts. One of only 4 teams inviting him on visits. But I love this mock draft here for the Bengals. We'll go ahead and look at it one more time here. So we take Harmon in round 1. And round 2, we take Notre Dame safety Xavier Watts, my favorite prospect by far on day 2. We take Georgia guard Dylan Fairchild in round 3. Round 4, we take Ohio State edge rusher Jack Sawyer, Jack Kaiser in round 5, J.J. Roberts in round 6. And I know some people might say this is unrealistic. I don't think it's that far-fetched. I think really the only thing you could say is far-fetched is maybe Sawyer in the 4th round. But even then, you could still get a chance to get a really nice edge rusher, maybe like David Walker from Central Arkansas, or Powell Ryland, I think is how you say it, from Virginia Tech. He was also towards the top in sacks this year, competing with Mike Green. I mean, some of the top sacks this year in the FBS, but it's going to be interesting. Like I said, reported a lot of stuff this year. Reported the J.J. Roberts visit with Cincinnati. Next season, I'm going to be a whole lot more in-depth and doing a whole lot more reporting side of stuff like I did this year. First year, kind of doing it like I said. But next year, make sure to tune in because I'm going to be doing it a million times more than what I did this year. Like I said, the draft's only in a couple of hours. It's absolutely crazy. Make sure to comment who you want the Bengals to draft. Who do you not want the Bengals to draft? Somebody I don't want them to draft is Shamar Stewart. Somebody I want them to draft is Mike Green. But thank you all so much for watching. If you're new to my channel or you've seen what it's for, make sure to like this video and hit the subscribe button. I would really, really appreciate it. I have so much draft content coming out the next week. I want to have probably 30, 40 videos, something like that posted within the next week or so. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time on the Sports Dude Hines Show.